You're taking a look in this lesson at terminating and repeating decimals. And this lesson starts out with the definition of rational numbers. A rational number can be written as a fraction, and every rational number can be written as either a terminating decimal or a repeating decimal. A terminating decimal would be something that ends, like 0.75 or 0.8 or 0.9 or 0.1. A repeating decimal would be something like 0.16 with a bar over the 6. They call that a bar notation. Here's a little math vocabulary word for you. The part that repeats has a special name, and that is called a repetend. That's what that's called. So when you are in this lesson, you're going to have problems that ask you to take a fraction and to write it as a decimal, and you're going to find out whether it becomes a terminating decimal, again meaning that it ends kind of evenly, I guess. It doesn't just keep going on and on and on and on, or a repeating decimal, so something that does continue to give you the same number. So as I take 1/6 and write it as a decimal, 1 over 6 means 1 divided by 6, so that means 1 goes inside the box. Remember that your decimal point comes right after the 1 because it's the whole number 1, and you move that decimal point straight up when you're dividing. Be very neat with your math work to avoid mistakes. So straight up with that, and you can put a 0 here. 6 goes into the number 10 one time. I multiplied 1 times 6 and got 6, subtracted and got 4, and I brought down this 0. I added and pulled down that 0 because it wasn't coming out evenly. Repeated it. How many times does 6 go into 40? It goes in 6 times. 6 times 6 is 36. Subtract and get 4, add and pull down the next 0. How many times does 6 go into 40? It goes in 6 times. 6 times 6 is 36. Subtract and get 4. You can see that this is going to keep repeating. And so this would be one of those repeating decimals. 0.16 with a bar over the 6 would be your answer there. 2/3 is similar, and you can stop and try this on your own if you want to, and come back and check it. But 2 would go inside the box, 3 on the outside. You add a decimal point right after that whole number 2. Take it straight up in your answer. I'm going to add a 0 to get me started here because 3 doesn't go into 2. I should mention that. 3 goes into 20 though, 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract and get 2. Add and pull down this 0. 3 goes into 20 6 times. 6 times 3 is 18. Subtract and get 2. Add and pull down this 0. You can see that this is going to keep repeating as well. So 0.6 with a repetend bar over the 6 would be your answer there. You may also have problems where you have to write a decimal number as a fraction in simplest form. And we do that by simply saying it out loud. This is -8/10 because after the decimal point, the first place value here is tenths. -8/10. 8 and 10 are both divisible by 2. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 10 divided by 2 is 5. So -4/5 in simplest form. And over here, after your decimal point, this is tenths and then hundredths. So this would be 75 hundredths. It's a negative. 75 and 100 are both divisible by 25. 75 divided by 25 is 3. 100 divided by 25 is 4. And so your answer would be -3/4.